Hey guys, what's going on? It's Orlando with the OP23 Sports Network. Hope you guys are having a great day today. But before we get started into the video, please help me out. We're going to do the HBO special. That's the Help a Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for me for more content. I appreciate it. I'll give you guys a second to do that. All right, so today's video is the NFL tires for the 2022 season. So I'm going by who I think could be the favorites, who could rattle some teams, who are not even close, and playoff contenders. Remember, this is my opinion, but feel free to drop a comment down below and give me your opinion. You know what I mean? So, all right, let's get into the video. So we're going to start with a not close. To me, the Seattle Seahawks, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Giants, the Houston Texans, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Detroit Lions, I feel like have no shot. Maybe I see them get into maybe 3 to 4, maybe 5 wins this year from all these teams right here. Seattle, I just think that without Russell Wilson, Seattle's kind of going to go down a little bit. I just don't see them really getting past 10 wins or winning that division, in the NFC West. Jacksonville, I like Trevor Lawrence. I think he's a great quarterback, great talent. I think he can be a future star. But as of this year, I just don't see really any progress with the Jaguars. They had a great draft, I'll give them that. But it's just I don't see the Jaguars making a big impact, especially in the AFC. It's already as tough as it is with the quarterbacks, as much competition there is. But if Jacksonville can impress me, I see them getting maybe 7 to 8 wins. But we'll see how it goes. So. The Giants, I think they need a new quarterback. That quarterback situation is just not it for the Giants. When Eli left, it just kind of isn't there. I like Daniel Jones, but it's just that he really isn't impressing anybody. I think when he fell running for that long touchdown, that was hilarious, but I don't see him really doing much with the Giants. I think the Giants are kind of just there just to be there, so... The Texans, they lost Deshaun Watson, and that was a big minus right there. I don't know what was going on with the Texans. They should have kept Deshaun Watson. They really let a lot of players go, J.J. Watt, Clowney, Watson. It's just I see this as a rebuild, for the Texans, and they're going to be probably the number 1 draft pick next year, in my opinion. So the Falcons, I don't see them really doing much. Marcus Mariota, maybe he can do some damage. He did it with the Titans. The Falcons, I just don't see him really pulling off a lot of wins this year. I see him rebuilding. I see him trying to hopefully get back to them days where they were heading to the Super Bowl, but they lost Matt Ryan, and I just don't see really anything that's going to help them improve in any sort of way. That's just my opinion, but I think they needed Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan was the key, but we'll just see how it goes. The Lions, I think they can be okay in the rattle, but I just Jared Goff, he's good, but I don't think he's that great. They had a good draft class this year. They added a lot of structure and future potential, and could be a threat in the future. The future I think is bright for Detroit, but this year they got a lot of rookies, and that's just gonna be the key thing right there is are the rookies going to develop, good enough. So the next I got is the rattle. So these teams, I think they could scare teams, for making, the playoffs, or, just scare the division. They could, do some damage, in my opinion. I just think that the Washington Commanders, the Cleveland Browns, the Chicago Bears, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Carolina Panthers, and the New York Jets. I think, Washington, that defense, I love their defense. Nick Young, he's a freaking monster. I think he's great. I really think the Commanders could do something, and scare, the Cowboys, the Eagles. They're a threat. And with Carson Wentz going there, I think that'll be good for the Commanders, but I just don't see them going really that far. But they could, scare some teams with that defense. Cleveland, I didn't put him higher just because of Deshaun Watson. He is going to be suspended for 6 games. So I'm really not sure where they would be. I think they could be higher. I think they could be a playoff team. But Deshaun Watson misses 6 games. If the Bears could, win half of those games before Deshaun gets back, I think they'll be in good position. But Deshaun Watson, if he comes back and he does his thing, I think they'll be okay. But as of right now, I think they'll just rattle some teams in the beginning. But later on in the season, this could change. So the Chicago Bears, I love Justin Fields. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's developed a lot from last year. Chicago is a great team, but they did lose a lot of key pieces, which hurt them. The thing is, why people are putting them last is that this is their year zero, and they're really criticizing Justin Fields. It's just that he's behind a bad offensive line, and he has one of the worst receiving cores in the league. So it's like, how do you make Justin Fields better if he isn't getting any weapons? So they could rattle teams. They have an okay defense, but I like Justin Fields' play style, and I think they could do something. But it's just I don't see him really doing much. That's just my opinion. But next is the Steelers. Big Ben's gone. It's going to be really different with Kenny Pickett. I think he should start, but they're going to probably go with Mitchell Trubisky. I think they could still rattle teams in their division. They'll give the Ravens a lot of trouble. We'll see who win that. But the AFC is just so tough. So with the Steelers, I see this being not a rebuild, but seeing it as a start to a better future for the Steelers. But they could rattle some teams. So Carolina Panthers, with the trade for Baker Mayfield, I think that was a good trade. I like Baker. I just think people don't like him for some odd reason. I don't know why. I like Baker. He's a good guy. I mean, he was number 1 overall pick. Yes, his arm is not as great as it used to be, but I think that with the defense the Panthers have, they could, rattle the Bucs. They could rattle the Saints. They could surprise and, be some good teams. That's just me. Last year the Panthers had an okay season, but if they can win those big games, I think they could rattle some teams and even be a playoff, team. So the Jets. Now, people are really going to question me about the Jets. I saw the Jets draft night, and they did amazing. They drafted so many defensive players, offensive weapons, some young talent, which is going to be good for Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's first year wasn't that great. He did get hurt, but I think that the Jets have a good future ahead of them. I think they could scare some teams. They could maybe jump the Patriots. They could, take a game from the Bills, or the Dolphins. I mean, just don't sleep on the Jets, in my opinion. I think if Zach Wilson stays healthy, I think they'll be okay. But I just see them rattling teams. If they can put more good drafts together and Wilson just develops into a great quarterback, I think they can, be a potential playoff in the future. So that's just my opinion. But all right, playoff potential. The Vikings, the Patriots, the Cardinals, the Titans, the Broncos, and the 49ers. I think these teams have a great chance to get in the playoffs. The only reason why they're not contenders is either because of the quarterback situation, the coaching, or just I'm kind of 50-50. You know what I mean? Just Vikings, they've always been a great team. They've always had great talent, but they always miss it by one. I think they could jump the Packers, but I don't trust Kirk Cousins. I don't. I trust Rodgers more than I do, Kirk Cousins. Dalvin Cook, he's always getting injured, man. I liked him at Florida State, but he's getting too injured, And if he stays healthy, maybe something can happen. But I want them to make that jump and stop being in the shadow. I want them to finally get into the playoffs, with Stephon Diggs was there. Like that regime is, making good decisions in the springs, but they're not doing it in the fall, when the big games happen. So Patriots, a lot of people are not liking the Patriots right now. Bill Belichick, they're saying that he's really off his game and, what they've done, letting players go. That defense really just took a step backwards, and I saw them as contenders last year to a playoff potential. I like Mac Jones. I think he's a great quarterback. It's just that the expectations are really low for the Patriots. And the only reason why I didn't have him as a rattle is because it's Bill Belichick, and I like Bill Belichick's play style. But him running the offense is going to be a little different. But they could still make the playoffs. You never know. They have great coaching, so I don't see them really dropping back too far. If they go under 500, then I could see why. But I think of them as just playoff potential, maybe. You know what I mean? So Cardinals. My last video I was talking about Kyler Murray. He's a great quarterback. They kind of overpaid Marquise Brown. In my opinion. DeAndre Hopkins, with the PEDs, that's just, you need him. Honestly, you need him. He was the receiver for Kyler Murray. And in the West, you got the Rams and that's kind of the team right now, and the 49ers. So that division is tough. The Cardinals did make the playoffs last year. It's just that they really took a beating from the Rams. And the Cardinals did give the Rams a lot of trouble last year. I think they beat them both games last year, in my opinion. I think. I don't remember. But so the Cardinals, the only reason why the playoff potential is just because of all the issues that's been going on in Arizona. I just don't know what's going on defensive-wise, or, if they're trying to get better. I just don't know. So, yeah, so I see him as a playoff potential. Titans, I do not trust Ryan Tannehill. I betted on them to beat Cincinnati, and they freaking lost. And I see him as a playoff team still, just because, Derrick Henry, and they still have decent receivers, but Titans are not impressing me at all. If Derrick Henry can get going and stay healthy the whole year, I think the Titans can still be contenders, but I don't see him as the number one seed like they were last year. I just think that the Colts are going to take over, which is why I'll get to that in a minute. But the 49ers, they replaced Jimmy G with Trey Lance. The 49ers, I like Trey Lance. I think he's great, but I don't see them, being big contenders. And last year, it was just the same thing. But Jimmy G got them into the playoffs. I don't have enough stats for Trey Lance to be the new quarterback and will take the 49ers in his first year with Deebo Samuel to the playoffs. I think they can. They have a great defense, which is why they stuck in it the last couple of years. The defense is great for 49ers, but I just don't know what to expect from Trey Lance. He could be great or he could really suck. You know what I mean? So we'll just see how that goes. But up next, we got the Denver Broncos. Here's the thing. I love Russell Wilson. He's a great quarterback, but I'm curious about how that style of offense will go for the Broncos. And that division is tough, is the toughest for Russell Wilson this year. Not saying last year wasn't tough, but he was hurt most of the way. But you're going from the NFC West to the AFC West, and that's with, you got Derek Carr there. You got Justin Herbert, and you got the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Will Russell Wilson do it? I don't know. I think he could. I think they can be contenders, but right now I just see him as a playoff potential who, if I'm 50-50, they can make it, but there's something that's going to, cause them to lose, you know what I mean? And I'm not sure what it is, but we'll just see what happens, so. Contenders, we got the Ravens, we got the Saints, we got the Colts, the Eagles, the Dolphins, the Cowboys, the Chargers, and the Raiders. Okay, so with the Ravens, I like Lamar Jackson. Is he the one that can get them to the Super Bowl? No. I don't think they'll be Super Bowl contenders with Lamar. I like Lamar. I think he's a great quarterback, and he's made this new era of his style really great. And it shows, but the Ravens defense, it's finally starting to catch up. Hopefully it gets a lot better for Lamar, and I hope that O-line protects him. Yes, he can run, but I want to see him throw a little more. You know what I mean? I love when he uses his feet, but he needs to stay healthy. You know what I mean? They're expecting a top 10 defense, so they better show that. And if they can do that, I think they can be Super Bowl contenders. But as of right now, I don't see him as Super Bowl contenders. I see Lamar. They need to win those big AFC games, like against the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Bills. They need to win those games to show that they are potential Super Bowl, contenders. The Saints, people are gonna question this one. The Saints, they have a great defense. Do not sleep on the Saints defense. Jameis Winston is back. He's not a bad quarterback. He did really well before he got injured. The Saints did really good last year when Jameis did go down. I think Alvin Kamara, he is going to face some suspension. But defensive-wise, in Tyrann Mathieu, that's going to be a good plus for the Saints. They could, I don't see them winning the division. I think they'll beat the Bucs, yes, but I don't see them winning the division. If they can win big games and Jameis can limit those interceptions, I think they'll be great. And I think they'll be good contenders. The Colts, Matt Ryan is that missing piece. He's consistent, he throws for yards, and he makes people around him better. But it's just the Falcons, they weren't having, everyone was getting injured, So the Colts were a great team last year. They were really close to making it to the playoffs, but they just had a couple games where they slipped up. And I think Matt Ryan is that precise turning piece for the Colts. I think improvements on the line will be good. The Colts look like a good team, but I don't see them as the Super Bowl great team. But I do see them as contenders and beating the Titans for the division. I think that's why that division is not all that tough, with the Texans and the Jaguars. But the Colts, if they can win big games, I can see them up there in contenders. So don't sleep on them. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts, he did great last year. He did really good. I'll give him that. The Colts, the Eagles did face the Buccaneers and really got beat. But if that defense can shape up a little bit, and they added A.J. Brown too, so that's a good piece. The secondary just got even better with James Bradbury, and then Darius Slay also was there too. So the NFC East looks really bright for them with the Cowboys going against them. The Commanders, I'm not sure what to think of that, but it could. I just see the Eagles winning the division. That's just my opinion. Super Bowl contenders? No, not really. No, I don't think so. I think just don't sleep on Jalen Hurts. He's a great quarterback, but if he makes the playoffs again this year, I can see him next year as, Super Bowl contenders, possibly. If they fix that defense and maybe they find something with A.J. Brown, maybe add more pieces, they'll do great. So the Dolphins, everything is on the line with Tua. He's got to do something this year. He's got to make the playoffs. He's got some more weapons. He's got Tyreek Hill, Rasheed Mostert, and Jalen Waddle. Those are fast receivers. He needs to make them throws, and from what Tyreek Hill says, he's really precise, and I like Tua. His attitude, and he's great. That the offensive line needs to protect him, though. That's just me. The defense should be a top 10, maybe top 12 unit. They have to win big games. They got to beat the Chiefs. They got to beat the Chargers, the Ravens, the big teams, to push them over that. You know what I mean? I think they could win the division. No, they won't. If they play the Bills really good, maybe, in the playoffs they could, scare them. But I'm not sure about winning it. But I'm curious how the Dolphins are going to look this year. So Cowboys, they're always going to be contenders just because Dak Prescott, he's a great player. He's a great quarterback. This offseason was not the best. They just fell. They gave away Amari Cooper and Randy Gregory and La'el Collins, and it just got worse. You know what I mean? Mike McCarthy he gets out-coached in big games. And I just don't see him winning the NFC East. I don't. But they're just going to be contenders. I think they'll be a wild card team. NFC isn't all that strong like the AFC is, but they'll still make the playoffs, in my opinion. That's just me. Chargers and the Raiders. Here's the reason why I have them here. Chargers, they need to win the bigger games. Justin Herbert got to stop losing to the Chiefs, the Bills, Ravens. You need to do and win those games. If they can win those, they'll be Super Bowl contenders. But I really want to see the Chargers finally escalate. You know what I mean? They had a busy free agency, and they haven't slowed down. And I just think that that offensive line with Zion Johnson and Isaiah Spiller is a nice compliment, to Austin Eckler who left. Um, and I just think that the defense just made them a Super Bowl threat. I think they're going to be contenders if they can, stay close, in the division in the AFC West. That's going to be a good thing for them, and hopefully jump the Raiders. And the Raiders, they had so much adversity last year, and the way they still made the playoffs is unbelievable. But they still made it, and I think adding Devontae Adams and Dylan Parfum on the offensive line, and a couple draft picks really made Derek Carr a little more safe and secure. They had a good draft. I'll give them that. But where this team will finish will be by the defense and Derek Carr. And I think that's just my opinion. Devontae is going to be a key asset, and I think it's going to be good for them and the Raiders. So, and the favorites. This is me, and I feel like it's been like this for the last couple of years. My favorites: the Buccaneers, the Rams, the Packers, the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Bengals. I see one of these teams going against each other in the Super Bowl or the NFC, AFC championships. That's just my opinion. Cincinnati got a lot more help. They got more offensive line for Joe Burrow, so he's not being sacked. I mean, he was the most sacked quarterback last year, and I think if he doesn't get sacked as much, he's more protected. I think he'll be okay. Defensive wise, they did do really well last year, and if they can keep that spark, I think they'll be okay. They were Super Bowl, they weren't the champions, but they were there for a reason, and they give the Rams a good run for their money. He really turned around the Bengals, and I think the Bengals can be a great team, in my opinion. But I just I think they're favorites again, and they got past the Chiefs. I think they can make some noise. So next we're gonna hit the Chiefs. They need more defensive line. They lost Tyrann Mathieu. They lost Tyreek Hill. Valdez, Scanting, and Juju Smith, are paired together. Travis Kelce's always going to be a threat. It's Patrick Mahomes, and they're going to be favorites because of him. And if they just keep doing what they're doing, but they got a tough schedule, which is why I kind of edgy on them. But if they can win those games, then there's a reason why they're always going to be favorites. So next, I'm going to go to the Buccaneers. Tom Brady he came back. He got more help. Julio Jones, Russell Gage, some good defensive players. Sadly, Rob Gronkowski and Sue won't be back. But in the NFC, they should dominate. Their schedule's a little tough from the beginning, but towards the end, I think they'll be able to adjust and win those games. They do have some good key games, which is going to be interesting to watch, in my opinion. But it's Tom Brady. Don't sleep on him. I think it'll be a good year, and to see where Julio Jones is, and if Chris Godwin comes back really fast, which it looks like he is, it's going to be a good season, in my opinion. But we'll just see what happens. Next, I'm going to go to Green Bay. The MVP, Aaron Rodgers, don't sleep on him. You can't. Yes, he did lose Devontae Adams, but I won't ever sleep on Aaron Rodgers again. He's a great quarterback. He needs to finally get to the Super Bowl. He needs to do that. But he always loses in the NFC Championship, or he loses, in the divisional rounds. He needs to stop doing that and finally win it for once. You know what I mean? Just that's just my opinion. If Rodgers can do that, I think he'll be in the Super Bowl. But if he doesn't do that, then that just shows why he'll be a one-time Super Bowl champ. That's it. So, all right, the Bills. I'm going to go to Bills before I go to the Rams. The Bills are the favorites. I'm going to quote that. They're the favorites. Yes, they got more help with Von Miller. But here's the thing. People think the Bills had the best defense last year. Yes, they did in points per game. But they were losing. They were losing to the Bucs 24-3 going into halftime, and that doesn't impress me. And You lose to the Chiefs in 15 seconds. You let them go down in 15 seconds. I like the Bills, but they're not all that. They're making them like they're the super team. I don't think the Bills are. I love Josh Allen. I think the coaching is great. But like defensive wise, no, I don't think they're the best defense, but they do have a great offense, and I'll give them that. But like you lost 15 seconds to the Chiefs, and you let them run down on the field on you in 15 seconds. You know what? No, you are not the favorites, in my opinion. The favorites, in my opinion, are the Rams. And Matthew Stafford, he did great. Aaron Donald's back. Jalen Ramsey's back. Robert Woods, they did lose Von Miller and Bobby Wagner, but they filled those positions, and their edge rushers are going to be great. So the Rams are just going to be favorites because they were the champs, but they are going to have a huge number on their back. But yeah, guys, this is my tire, I guess you could say. Going from not close to rattle to playoff potential, contenders, and the favorites. So yeah, this is the end of the video. If you guys have any comments or things you guys would like to say, please hit the comment section below. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys can, give me the HBO special. That's the Help a Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for me, guys. Gonna do some more predictions in the future. Gonna do some fun stuff. So stick around, and if you can, just give me a shout out every now and then, in the comments. See if there's anything I can improve. You know what I mean? So, all right, guys, thanks, appreciate it. OB23 Sports Network. I'm Orlando. Hit the like and subscribe before you leave. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. See ya.